All right. So, Bruce, have you seen the exhibit yourself? I know it's, yes, many times.
I've been through it as it was put together. I've seen it in Spain, and I've been through it a number of times here in New York.
What distinguishes this exhibit from others that try and tell the story of the Holocaust?
It's the detail. This focuses. It takes about 2 to 3 hours to go through the exhibit in a proper way, and the audio tour is excellent, and that's about 2 to 3 hours. And so what happens is you see detail that you didn't know about, no matter how well you know the Holocaust or knew about the Holocaust or know about the Holocaust. And the detail is what's important. Imagine having 700 artifacts or objects from Auschwitz-Birkenau and from other museums, and 400 photographs. And that's very important, because when the overall feeling you get after you've seen it is, how could people do this to other people? That's one of the things. The other thing you come away with is you cannot be a bystander. You cannot sit by and watch these kinds of mass murders, these kinds of abusive people, because a bystander is in some sense a partner with what went on. And I think the other thing you come away with is the notion that hate and discrimination leads to violence, and some of the worst violence that humankind has ever heard of or experienced.
And right now, I just came back from Italy, and I was just talking to our audience about how in Italy, and I was reading the international version of the Times for a week, how they are consumed with what's going on in Austria, Poland, Denmark, France, Britain, and Germany in terms of a rise of an ultra-right movement. And many people in this country obviously are very concerned as well. But Europe has a much deeper, stronger, visceral connection to what it means to the rise of the haters.
You said that perfectly. And I had mentioned first the rise of anti-Semitism. And the second half, which I hadn't yet mentioned, was exactly what you said, the rise of the alt-right, of the same group of people, the same philosophy that led to Hitler's winning an election and becoming head of Germany, is the same type of people that with the same kind of beliefs as Hitler had that are now coming to power in different countries, or within countries, maybe not necessarily coming to power, but a strong presence in these different countries. And it is of great concern and ought to be of great concern to all of us.
I would like to know, we're chatting with Bruce Ratner, who is a director, the chair of the director of the museum. And it's not the Jewish Museum. If you go to the Jewish Museum, you're going to end up on the Upper East Side. It has the word Jewish. And
you're going to see art. Yes.
And you're going to see art. Exactly. I mean, it's a nice place, but it's not this. This is a Museum of the Jewish Heritage. It's a different building. It's Battery Park City. It's its own place. Bruce, how did you come to be involved with the museum? And tell me about your family's connection with the Holocaust altogether.
My father grew up in Eastern Europe. He did come before the war. And my mother's family was from Warsaw and also came before the war. However, we lost a lot of people from our family in the Holocaust. We lost over 40 members of our family in Auschwitz and well over 100 in the Holocaust. And I was born, actually, I think in 1945, 4 days before the liberation of Auschwitz. And growing up, it was just such a part of our family in terms of the knowledge of the Holocaust. My father sponsored family members and others for jobs to come to the United States after the Holocaust from the DP camps. Many of my parents' friends were survivors. And so it was just such a part of the way in which I grew up. And I felt and feel strongly that I have a responsibility to try to impart to others what the Holocaust is about, what hate can do, and also, sort of an allegiance to what my history and culture is.
Yeah, I can understand what you mean by that. But explain, when you say your history and culture, what values from the Jewish history and culture, what values from the Jewish faith do you think are transmitted by looking at this exhibit, by understanding this exhibit?
I think one thing is that you come away with it that we did survive as a people. So one is the perseverance and hope that Jewish people have despite all of the types of things, including the Holocaust, that have happened to us over the centuries. So that's one very important value. Also, the notion of passive resistance. People often ask the questions, well, was there resistance? There was a lot of resistance, both physical resistance, but there's also spiritual resistance. For example, there is a talis, which is a religious garment worn by religious Jews, that is displayed in the exhibition, and it is a talis which a inmate at Auschwitz had, and it was taken away from him, and he was severely beaten by the Nazis, by the guards, and they threw it on a fence. And at night he went and he grabbed it back and hid it, and he survived, and he kept that talis during the entire time that he was in Auschwitz, and after he survived and came to the United States. And it was a way of resisting, of saying, I will stay a Jew, I will stay with my beliefs, I will stay with everything I believe in. I think the other issue is this issue of social justice. When you do surveys of Jewish people, you find that one of the most important aspects of being Jewish is social justice. Really out of that feeling is if you believe in social justice, things like the Holocaust don't happen. If you believe in the equality of people, things like Auschwitz, things like the Holocaust don't happen. If you believe in the value of all people, things like Auschwitz and things like the Holocaust don't happen. So I think those are the kind of values that many people have, not only Jewish, but I think we are raised to believe in social justice and the importance of human life and the importance of equality, the importance of treating people in the right way, of not hating, of not discriminating. I was raised that way. As a liberal Jew, I guess would be the way to say it.
Yeah, but I think you could be raised as a conservative Jew and have the same values too, Bruce. I really think so. I think the labels of liberal and conservative, I think a lot of conservative people also believe in social justice. They just have different tactics, but they believe in the same goal.
My observation hasn't been the same, but I'm sure you're right.
I mean, I don't know, but, I just, the problem...
the word, it's funny to throw around terms. I don't want to throw around terms like liberal and conservative.
You know what I mean?
I don't want to throw around any terms, but I would say alt-right, which is not conservative.
No.
Alt-right certainly
Different.
does not share those values.
That's right.
And unfortunately, there are a lot of people in the world that are now identify with alt-right. So I don't want to use conservative or liberal because I do agree with you that people of all political persuasions believe in social justice. I think we do, unfortunately, have a segment of our population in this country and in other countries who, unfortunately, do not believe that all people are created equal and deserve the same rights that they do.
Absolutely. Well, I thank you, Bruce, for coming on. And I thank you for the work. And it's the Museum of Jewish Heritage.
Thank you very much.
You can easily find out how to get tickets. I have 4 tickets for May 26th. I'll be going myself.
Oh, you're great.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
I wouldn't miss it. So thank you. Thank you, Bruce Ratner, for joining us on the show today. It's 4:46. You're listening to 1490 WGCH and WGCH.com. Anywhere. I'm Lisa Wexler. Stay tuned.